A massive shark fin cuts through the raging ocean waves at full speed. The main character, Tyler, tells a girl named Sophia to keep pushing and not give up. Tyler notices a huge shark getting closer and closer to them. Tyler thinks to himself that if things keep going this way, they're both going to die here. Thinking it's time to take a risk, Tyler grabs the board from Sophia's hands, but she doesn't understand his intentions. Sophia screams Tyler's name, mentally begging him not to let her die, crying out that she wants to live. The shark leaps out of the water, revealing its huge mouth full of sharp teeth. As Sophia starts to sink, Tyler hits the shark in the face with the board with all his might, preventing it from biting them. The shark stares at Tyler for a moment, then dives deep into the water. Noticing Sophia sinking, the shark heads straight for her, completely forgetting about Tyler. As the shark rapidly approaches Sophia, it opens its massive jaws again, ready to gulp her down in one go. Sophia starts to choke, looking up with her last thoughts about wanting to live. Suddenly, the shark catches the enticing scent of human blood. Meanwhile, Tyler rips a shard off a plank and wraps his wound, preparing to dive. Salt water inevitably seeps into his wound, and he screams in intense pain. Gathering his strength, Tyler dives deep, distracting the shark with his bleeding wound. The shark immediately loses interest in Sophia and races after Tyler. Catching up to him, it opens its jaws to bite off Tyler's legs in a flash. However, Tyler manages to dodge, making the shark snap its teeth and expose itself for a counterattack. Tyler drives the wooden shard with all his might right into the shark's black eye. Overwhelmed by unbearable pain, the shark tries to escape, giving Tyler a chance to slash a deep wound. The shark thrashes around for a while, but soon slows down and starts sinking towards the bottom. Having defeated the dangerous predator, Tyler quickly surfaces to help Sophia. Meanwhile, Sophia continues to struggle for air, slowly losing consciousness. Mentally crying for help, she closes her eyes due to a severe lack of oxygen and strength to surface on her own. The last thing she sees before completely losing consciousness is the silhouette of Tyler swiftly swimming towards her. Tyler notices that Sophia has passed out and speeds up, focusing all his energy. The hero quickly reaches the girl and manages to grab her before she sinks. Holding her with one arm, Tyler rushes to the surface to get Sophia to shore as fast as possible. Tyler pulls Sophia onto the shore, laying her on the hot sand heated by the bright sun. Sophia comes to, coughing up the water that had filled her lungs. Sophia wipes her mouth with her hand, feeling a pressure in her chest. Looking down, Sophia notices Tyler performing indirect heart massage on her. Tyler looks at her questioningly and continues to press on her chest with both hands, right over her heart. Overwhelmed with embarrassment, Sophia yells out, calling Tyler a pervert, and slaps him. After a while, Sophia apologizes to Tyler, admitting she initially didn't realize he was performing CPR. Tyler turns away from Sophia, mentioning that he was doing more than just CPR, which confuses her. Tyler adds that they both studied medicine, so he finds her confusion strange. Sophia feels embarrassed again, looks away, and tells Tyler how grateful she is. Looking around, she asks Tyler where they are, but he honestly admits he has no idea. Sophia asks Tyler if his phone still works, and he replies that it does. But there's no signal. Sophia suggests texting emergency services, but he reminds her there's no signal. With a knowing look, Sophia tells Tyler that you can text emergency services even without a SIM card. Sophia grabs Tyler's phone, saying she'll text emergency services herself. She sends a distress message, but it gets marked as undelivered. Sophia and Tyler spend a few awkward seconds in silence, staring at the phone. Unfazed, she turns to Tyler and tells him his phone is broken. Meanwhile, Tyler has climbed a palm tree and asks her from up there why she thinks that. Tyler points out that they could have contacted emergency services without a SIM card if the phone had network coverage. Sophia asks him what they should do next, adding that they need to figure out where they are and call for help. Tyler looks around for people, but suddenly something catches his eye. Without explaining why, he yells at Sophia to keep very quiet. Sophia gets mad at Tyler and asks him why he's shushing her, adding that she was almost eaten by a shark. She continues to complain, but Tyler quickly runs up to her and covers her mouth with his hand, pleading for silence. Tyler intently looks towards the area where he previously noticed suspicious activity. Suddenly, a sharp spear flies out of the bushes, but Tyler manages to grab Sophia and dodge it. The spear slams into the sand at high speed and gets stuck, twitching for a while. Sophia lies on the ground and asks Tyler in surprise what just happened. Tyler and Sophia stare into the bushes, hearing some rustling and the sound of approaching footsteps. A few seconds later, 3 natives armed with primitive weapons emerge from the bushes. The locals are hostile and start shouting something in their language, aggressively approaching our heroes. Tyler is surprised to find that there are local people here, but decides to ask them how they're doing. The main hero hopes the natives will tell them where they are, but they suddenly charge at them screaming. Tyler is shocked by such hostility, but dodges a spear thrust at the last second. The natives keep swinging at Tyler one after another, all unsuccessful, while he still tries to talk to them in various languages. The lead native gets really annoyed that they can't manage to land a hit on Tyler. With a loud yell, he points at Tyler, ordering the others to attack. Tyler begs the natives to stop, not understanding what he did to offend their tribe. The native with the spear tries to wound Tyler with multiple thrusts, but Tyler dodges them effortlessly. The native leader decides to attack Tyler from behind while he's distracted by the one with the spear. Tyler realizes it's time to stop talking and swiftly grabs the spear. He pulls the spear towards himself with force, blocking the native leader's attack. Seizing the moment of hesitation, Tyler decides to kick the leader. With a powerful blow, Tyler breaks the opponent's nose and makes him stagger back. While the leader is temporarily incapacitated, Tyler tries to wrestle the spear from his opponent. Tyler forcefully pulls the spear towards himself, preparing to knock out the opponent with a powerful face strike. Sophia notices the looming danger and shouts to Tyler to be careful. A third native finally reaches Tyler and attacks him with a spear, causing a slash wound on his side. Tyler finds himself surrounded, telling himself that they definitely want to kill him. Meanwhile, one of the natives suddenly dashes in another direction, ignoring Tyler. The native sets his sights on Sophia, who screams and tries to run away. But the savage quickly catches up to Sophia and hits her in the back with the blunt end of his spear. Sophia loses her balance and falls onto the sand, screaming in severe pain. The girl pushes herself up on her elbows, coughing out sand and gasping that she can barely breathe. The savage decides to finish Sophia off, raising a huge spear above her while letting out terrifying screams. Sophia screams out Tyler's name, begging him to save her, and closes her eyes as she feels blood splatter on her face. Tyler manages to reach the native and impales him through with a spear. The lifeless body of the native heavily falls right in front of Sophia, and she screams in horror. Tyler forcefully steps on the dead savage, pressing down with his foot to pull out the spear. After a few attempts, he successfully retrieves the weapon from the body of his foe, looking around cautiously. Tyler shakes his spear to clean off the blood and heads towards the other natives. The native leader lets out a war cry and recklessly charges at Tyler. But Tyler just meets the native with a spear thrust to the throat, piercing him through with a single strike. As the tribal leader dies a painful death, Tyler stretches his arms, noting that there's one last opponent left. To finish off the last native, Tyler decides to pick up the weapon the leader dropped. The last remaining native lets out a shaky cry as Tyler picks his moment to strike. Timing it just right, Tyler forcefully throws the knife at his opponent. The native manages to block the attack, and Tyler's knife bounces off the spear, falling to the ground. However, Tyler takes advantage of the native's momentary hesitation and delivers a powerful knee strike to his face. From the strong blow, the native loses his weapon and is sent flying, landing on the sand. Seizing a brief chance, Tyler throws a bone knife at the fallen native. With a precise throw, Tyler hits the enemy in the head and turns around to check for any other threats nearby. Sophia is still shaking from the shock and looks at Tyler, calling out his name. Tyler examines Sophia, realizing she is terrified and thinks to himself about her sheltered upbringing. Sophia asks Tyler if he is for real, to which he responds affirmatively. The girl looks at Tyler in awe and asks him when he got so badass. Sophia points out that Tyler just handled 3 grown men, adding that he also took down a huge shark not long ago. Sophia says she could testify in court to defend Tyler, adding that she can easily confirm he killed the natives in self-defense. Tyler listens to his companion, and a smirk appears on his face in response to her words. Sophia asks Tyler why he's laughing, to which he counters by asking if she's scared. The girl admits that if it weren't for Tyler, the natives would have killed her, then asks where he got all these skills from, adding that he doesn't look like your typical med student. Tyler confesses to Sophia that before college, he spent several years in the military. Tyler recalls his past, where a pharmaceutical magnate gave him a mission to pose as a regular university student. The employer hands Tyler a photo of a girl, saying that his only task is to protect her. Tyler also remembers that before he could get close to the girl he was supposed to protect, there was an explosion on the cruise liner. Tyler doesn't know if the explosion was staged, but he hopes that the girl will be lucky enough to hold on until he can reach her. Tyler takes a bone knife from the body of a defeated enemy and starts chopping coconuts. Sophia approaches the palm tree where Tyler is sitting and warns him that someone is coming their way. Tyler peers into the distance and spots a small life raft on the water with a group of people on it. Sophia suggests they might be other survivors and wants to head towards them, but Tyler stops her, asking her not to go into the water. Sharks start circling the life raft with 3 survivors in large numbers. The survivors begin to panic as more and more sharks keep showing up. Sophia watches this terrifying scene and says the situation looks awful. Tyler looks around, trying to find a way to help the survivors, and focuses on the dead bodies of the natives. The main hero grabs a native's body and steps into the water, telling Sophia to stay on the shore. Moving further out, Tyler begins swimming towards the large school of sharks with the body. The sharks sense the blood spreading in the water from the dead native and shift their attention. Tyler notices the change in the shark's behavior and feels relieved at the success, thinking of escape routes. Seeing that the sharks are getting closer, Tyler starts to turn around, leaving the lifeless body in the water. A few seconds later, Tyler kicks off from the dead native's body. Sharks are getting closer to the dead body, while Tyler swims to a safe spot. Catching his breath, Tyler mentally notes that he now needs to do the same with the second corpse. In the shallows, Sophia is already waiting for him, having dragged the next body over, saying she decided to help Tyler, who then admits to himself that he underestimated her. The survivors are incredibly relieved to see the sharks swimming away from them, giving them a moment of safety. They decide to seize this gift of fate and paddle to the shore as fast as they can. While the sharks are busy devouring the native bodies, the survivors put all their strength into rowing and make it to the shore. The survivors land on the island, and Tyler cuts down some coconuts from a palm tree to welcome them. Sophia approaches the surviving woman, calling her the leader, and asks if she's all right. The leader stands up and thanks Sophia and Tyler for their help, noting that without them, their group would likely have perished. Sophia asks the leader where the rest of the students and teachers have gone. The boss looks visibly upset and says there's no good news about it. According to her, the situation was too chaotic, and only a few managed to make it to the lifeboats. She adds that during the fire, there was total confusion and most people couldn't coordinate. She also recalls that right after the explosion, a storm hit, and in the end, only the 3 of them managed to get on this lifeboat. Sophia can hardly believe what's happening, while one of the survivors says he didn't expect to see her here. He introduces himself as Charles, mentioning they took a nutrition course together, and adds that he's really grateful to her for the rescue. Sophia points to Tyler, saying they all owe him thanks, and that she just helped a little. Charles, reaching out to Tyler with a big smile, thanks him for the rescue. They shake hands, and Charles asks Tyler what he threw into the sea to distract the sharks. Before Tyler can answer, Charles says it looked to him like it was people. The other 2 survivors are totally shocked by what they hear and stare at Tyler in disbelief. Tyler calmly explains that he dumped the bodies of the locals in the water. The survivors get even more freaked out by this turn of events and look at Tyler in horror. Charles nervously asks Tyler if he killed the civilians to distract the sharks. Tyler responds that it's better to feed the sharks with the dead than let them eat the living. All the newcomers freeze in deep shock, and Charles manages to say that Tyler's actions are just horrific. Sophia yells at Tyler that he's digging his own grave, then turns to the survivors and says that those barbarians attacked them first, so Tyler had to defend himself. Charles says that for their own safety, they need to take restrictive measures against Tyler. He argues that they can't allow Tyler to move around freely or let him out of their sight. He also adds that they need to tie Tyler up before they go to sleep. Charlie walks up to Sophia and tells her he'll definitely protect her, to which she sarcastically replies that she doesn't need it. Sophia asks the survivors what's wrong with them, adding that if Tyler hadn't saved them, they'd have been shark food by now. Charles insists, saying Tyler killed people and adds that it makes him unpredictable and dangerous. Tyler looks at Charles and tells him not to worry so much. He adds that if Charles thinks he's dangerous, he'd happily send him back to the sea. Sophia yells at Charles, telling him to stop talking nonsense since he didn't see what happened here. She adds that she already explained everything, stating that Tyler was defending himself from savages who tried to kill them and were totally unwilling to communicate. The leader chimes in, saying Tyler saved them from sharks and at least deserves more trust as a thank you. Charles stays quiet for a bit, then snorts in displeasure under his breath. But a split second later, he smiles broadly, agreeing with the leader, and then apologizes to Tyler, admitting he was overreacting. He approaches Sophia again, saying he's been worried about her, adding that she's a girl and it'd be better if she's surrounded only by trustworthy people. Sophia doesn't respond to Charles's niceties, while another survivor decides to introduce himself. The survivor introduces himself as Alex, saying he works for a construction company and holds a position on the board of directors. Alex asks Tyler if he has any plan for what's next, to which Tyler replies that he'd be happy to hear his suggestions. Alex says they don't know when help will arrive, so their top priorities should be to figure out the situation on the island and to find drinking water and food. He suggests heading into the forest before it gets dark, as they might run into other survivors or find a way off the island during their search. The leader asks Sophia what she thinks about it, but she confidently answers that she'll follow Tyler anywhere. Tyler thinks to himself that there's too little food and drinking water near the shore, unlike the jungle. But deeper into the woods, they're likely to encounter savages. Weighing the pros and cons, Tyler tells Sophia and the leader that he doesn't recommend rushing into the forest because it's too dangerous. The leader tells Alex that Tyler might be right, adding that if they go into the forest, they could run into wild animals or the locals. Alex says he thinks the boss lady is overreacting because it's unlikely there are any big animals on this island. He also adds that if they run into any locals, he can make a deal with them by being friendly. Charles agrees with Alex, saying that the savages are just simple-minded folks who are easy to get along with. Sophia loses her cool and starts yelling at the survivors, telling them she just explained everything. Tyler steps in front of Sophia and tells the others that he understands their point of view. Tyler picks up a bone knife and says that killing a person is considered murder, no matter what. Then he moves towards Charles and says, it doesn't matter if you kill one person or 5, you're still a murderer. Tyler steps closer and swings the bone knife forcefully, menacingly glaring at Charles. The leader screams Tyler's name in fear and begs him not to do this. Charles covers his face with his hands and loudly begs for help from those around him. Tyler delivers a powerful knife strike, slicing through the air with a whoosh. Charles opens his eyes and notices that Tyler has split a coconut in half with a bone knife. Tyler hands half of the coconut to the leader, offering her some juice to drink. After that, Tyler passes the knife to Alex and asks if he'd like to give it a try, to which he agrees. Alex takes the knife and cuts the coconut, saying that he still thinks they can't just sit here waiting for something to happen. He adds that they don't have any food or water, and even with these coconuts, they won't last long. Tyler notices a cut on his side and mentions that he just remembered something very important. He pulls out a wolf's tooth, saying he borrowed it from one of the natives who attacked them. Alex examines the wolf's tooth closely and then says he doesn't believe they are the only survivors since there were too many people on the liner. He reiterates his suggestion that they should head into the forest to at least try to find other survivors. Tyler mentally tells himself that if he had gone there alone, he could figure out what's going on. But if they go together, his hands would be tied. Tyler agrees, saying they can head into the forest, but they must move very cautiously and slowly. After a while, Tyler, armed with a spear, cautiously leads a group of survivors into the jungle. Alex points out that there are several types of Chinese palms here, pointing at each one. The leader, who they started calling Sally, tells Alex he knows a lot, to which he jokes that he just went hiking a lot. Suddenly, a rabbit jumps out of the bushes in front of the survivors and disappears right away. Alex tells the survivors they need to catch that rabbit immediately and starts chasing the small animal. Tyler stops Sophia, telling her not to rush as they'd only waste energy trying to catch an elusive animal. He adds that there's a lot of vegetation in these jungles that will slow them down, mentioning even he isn't sure he could catch that rabbit. After a while, Tyler and Sophia hear loud screams and decide to check out what happened. Sophia says that from the sound of it, those were screams from Charles and the leader. Sophia tells Tyler they might be in danger and suggests they hurry, but he says there's no need. Sophia doesn't get Tyler's cool attitude and asks him why he thinks that way. But Tyler casually explains his point, saying they'll make it to them on their own. Right after that, Charles bursts out towards Tyler and Sophia, with Alex and Sally running behind him. Charles yells for everyone to head to the shore while Sophia watches them, clueless about what's happening. Tyler grabs Sophia's hand and starts running towards the shore as she looks back. Bringing up the rear is the leader, who's finding this chase increasingly difficult. Distracted and stressed, Sally trips over a log lying on the ground. Tripping over the heavy log, Sally crashes into the grass at full speed. Sophia tries to break free from Tyler's grip, saying she needs to help their leader. Seconds later, what had terrified the group bursts out of the bushes, and Sophia stares in horror at a massive boar. The enraged boar immediately spots the helpless Sally and charges straight at her. The boar lets out a loud squeal as it quickly closes in on the unfortunate girl. Tyler lets go of Sophia and rushes to save their helpless leader. He yells to the rest of the survivors to keep running without stopping, while he himself speeds up to reach Sally in time. Charles catches up to Sophia and blocks her path to the other survivors, loudly distracting her. He reaches out his hand and tells her he'll lead her out, but Sophia ignores him and runs past, saying she's going to help Tyler. Charles gets even angrier and mentally curses Tyler with every curse he knows. Meanwhile, Tyler catches up to Sally and urges her to reach out her hand as fast as she can. Sally reaches out to Tyler, genuinely thanking him for the rescue. But Tyler quickly and firmly grabs Sally's manager by the shoulder. Tyler pulls the manager towards him, throwing her toward the survivors who came to help. Sophia and Charles catch the manager, asking if she's all right. Tyler asks the survivors why they're still here and reminds them that he told them to run without looking back. Tyler gets ready to fight the boar, but suddenly someone pushes him from behind, making him lose his balance. The wild boar targets Tyler again and speeds up, preparing to ram his opponent. The charging boar quickly closes the distance and leaps at Tyler, ready to kill him with a single strike. Tyler briefly freezes in anticipation, trying to calculate all possible moves. Snapping back to reality just in time, he manages to dodge by performing a flip over the boar. A boar rushes over Tyler, ramming only ferns and air with its massive bulk. Tyler lands on the ground, rolls, and checks himself for any injuries. He finds that the boar's tusks manage to nick him, leaving a big gash across his chest. The boar turns towards Tyler, but then it spots Sophia and Sally. The animal lets out another wild scream and gears up for another swift charge. Sophia freezes in terror, petrified by the sight of the wild beast. The boar sets its sights on Sophia and starts to pick up speed for another attack. Tyler notes that this boar weighs at least 300 kilograms, so if it hits Sophia, it'll definitely kill her. With thoughts of not letting Sophia die, he dashes forward to help. The boar lets out a piercing squeal and rapidly closes in on Sophia. Sophia stands frozen, only able to let out a desperate cry for help. Tyler manages to run up to Sophia and pushes her out of the boar's line of attack. But because of this, he has to take the hit himself, sending him flying back several meters. Hitting the ground, Tyler rolls several times before finally coming to a stop. The boar briefly slows down, eyeing Tyler's motionless body. Tyler spits out blood and starts thinking of his next move. The boar decides to finish Tyler off and begins to pick up speed for another charge. Sophia and Sally scream in terror, warning Tyler that the boar is getting dangerously close. The boar lets out another piercing scream and closes in on Tyler almost instantly. However, Tyler manages to dodge at the last second, causing the boar to crash into a tree at full speed. A powerful collision with a tree knocks the boar out cold, and it falls to the ground unconscious. Tyler looks at the downed beast, coughing up blood again, and decides to deal with it right here and now. Sophia asks Tyler if he's okay, but he asks them to keep quiet and hide. Tyler tells himself that if he doesn't figure out how to handle this quickly, he'll either die or end up crippled. Charles watches Tyler from the bushes, upset that he didn't die after the collision with the boar. He keeps a close watch on Sophia, remembering how he never gathered the courage to confess to her back in university. From his memories, he could only attend the same courses and watch her from the shadows. But now, being on the same island gives him a chance. Charles is annoyed that Tyler has come into his life and believes that if Tyler were gone, Sophia would rely only on him. Charles concludes that he needs to kill Tyler to win Sophia's favor. Meanwhile, the boar regains consciousness and charges at Tyler again, who tries to let it get closer. At the last second, Tyler dodges the wild beast again, getting a brief chance to strike. Taking advantage of the boar's disorientation, Tyler throws his bone knife with precision. The knife sticks into the boar's hind leg and gets stuck, causing the animal to bleed and suffer intense pain. The wild boar starts to squeal piercingly from the excruciating pain in its leg. It turns towards Tyler, maddened by unbearable pain and uncontrollable rage towards its attacker. Tyler is surprised that the animal is still standing and tries to think through his next move. The boar charges at Tyler again, kicking up dust with its heavy hooves. Tyler decides to stick to a tried-and-true method and runs towards a tree to escape the boar. Sophia watches Tyler anxiously, screaming out of worry and fear. Tyler lets the boar get close again, then springs away from the tree. Unable to stop in time, the boar crashes into a tree at full speed, momentarily stunned again. Tyler lands behind the boar, ready to finish off the dangerous opponent. He forcefully pulls the bone knife from the boar's body and moves to the animal's head. Thinking that he must quickly finish off the opponent, Tyler starts delivering multiple blows to the boar's neck and head. The boar refuses to die easily and starts shaking its head, trying to reach Tyler with its tusks. Finding the right moment, the boar grabs the bone knife with its teeth, blocking Tyler's attacks. However, Tyler delivers a powerful kick to the boar's snout, making it drop the knife and stagger back. Seizing the moment, Tyler quickly jumps onto the boar's back to protect himself from possible attacks. Tyler remembers that boars have a weak spot just above the eyes and tries to find it, delivering multiple punches. Tyler is amazed by the amount of strength in the wild animal and keeps punching it. Tyler gets backup from Sophia, Alex, and their leader Sally. They rush to the wild boar and hold its legs so it can't fight back. Tyler gathers all his strength and strikes the boar's weak spot multiple times. After a while, the boar finally weakens its resistance, and the survivors get a chance to relax a bit. Seeing the beast stop moving, Tyler finally calms down, raising his bloodied fists. All the survivors sit down on the grass and breathe out tiredly, slowly catching their breath. Lifting a bone knife, Tyler finishes off the boar by stabbing it between the eyes. Breathing heavily, Tyler expresses his relief that the boar is finally dead. Sophia asks Tyler how he's feeling, to which he replies that he's all right. Sophia notices a serious wound on Tyler and says they need to stop the bleeding as soon as possible. Charles peeks from behind a tree and tells Tyler how badass he is for taking down such a huge boar. Charlie hopes they'll have roasted pork for dinner tonight. Tyler steps closer to Charles and kicks him hard in the torso, sending him flying a few meters. Lying on the ground from the impact, Charlie clutches his side and asks Tyler why he did that. Tyler glares down at Charles and accuses him of trying to kill him. Charles says he doesn't understand the accusations, claiming they're groundless. Tyler reminds Charles that it was he who pushed him towards the boar. Charles tells Tyler he's got it all wrong, adding that he never thought about killing him. Tyler ignores Charles's excuses and throws his bone knife in front of him. He tells Charles, if he really wants to kill him, he'll give him the chance. Sophia tells Charles how Tyler had saved him before. Puzzled why Charles would repay him like this, Charles keeps dodging the issue, saying he never meant to hurt Tyler. Tyler says if Charles won't grab a weapon, then he will, reaching for a knife. Charles's expression changes suddenly, and he quickly grabs the knife, wresting it from Tyler. Charles takes a threatening stance, ready to strike with the bone knife. Seizing the right moment, Charles swings the knife and delivers a swift, sweeping blow. But Tyler manages to block Charles's attack, deflecting it with a quick kick. While Charles is still reeling, Tyler quickly knocks the bone knife out of his hand. Tyler lands a strong elbow strike to Charles's torso, forcing him to stagger back again. Hit hard, Charles crashes back into a tree behind him and falls to the ground. He's trying to catch his breath, coughing from the intense pain in his lungs and back. In a fraction of a second, Tyler lifts a bone knife and strikes Charles in the shoulder. Charles screams loudly from the searing pain, feeling hot blood trickle down his shirt. Boss Sally asks Tyler if he's sure that Charles was actually trying to kill him. The boss reflects on how they're all students from the same university, hoping to someday make them understand that human life is no joke, and asks Tyler to spare Charles. Tyler approaches the agonizing Charles and says he didn't mean to kill him. He pulls the knife out of Charles's wound, adding that if he really wanted to, he would have aimed for the neck or head. Charles tries to defend himself again, saying he didn't want this, but Tyler says he's letting him go just this once. He turns around and says that next time he won't even listen to Charles, he'll just kill him. Sophia stops Tyler and tells him he's got a huge wound on his chest, urging him to get it treated immediately. Tyler looks at the dead boar and says that the smell of death will attract more animals, so they need to find some vines fast to drag it to the beach and butcher it. Alex agrees with Tyler's suggestion, admitting to himself that he's disappointed in Charles, while appreciating Tyler's decisiveness and concern. After a while, the group of survivors finds some vines and starts pulling the boar towards the shore in unison. The leader is supporting the injured Charles, while Tyler, Alex, and Sophia try to drag the boar along. Finally getting the boar to the beach, Sophia sits down on the sand, happy that they made it, while Tyler starts to stagger painfully. Tyler tries to figure out what's happening to him, clutching his head in severe pain. A few seconds later, Tyler loses consciousness and begins to fall to the ground. Alex and Sophia rush to Tyler and find that he has a high fever. Sophia lifts Tyler's shirt and notices that his wound has started to look much worse. Approaching Sophia, someone asks what happened to Tyler, to which she replies that his wound has started to get infected. Alex is worried that the wound could be fatal without any meds, adding that those boar tusks probably had a bunch of dangerous microbes on them. Sophia asks Tyler if he's conscious, saying that they need to treat his wound ASAP. Tyler says he just needs some sleep, insisting that he'll be fine once he gets some rest. Sophia yells at Tyler, telling him that if the wound gets infected, he could end up with tetanus, which would definitely kill him. Tyler asks Sophia not to worry, reassuring her that he'll be okay. He passes out, and Alex notes that his fever has gotten even higher, saying they need to disinfect the wound right away. Sophia asks Alex what they can use to disinfect the wound, pointing out that they don't even have clean water. After thinking it over, Alex asks Sophia if she's Tyler's girlfriend. He mentions there's one really old-school way to clean and disinfect the wound. With fire in her eyes, Sophia asks Alex what that method is. Alex says the wound needs to be washed with urine and hands her an empty coconut shell. Sophia recalls her medical school lessons where it was taught that if a wound isn't treated with an antiseptic, it can get infected and lead to inflammation. She also remembers that in those classes, it was mentioned that in extreme situations with no clean water available, you can use the middle part of the urine to rinse the wound. Additionally, she recalls that during the patient's recovery period, it's crucial not to wash the wound with water to avoid introducing another infection. After a while, Tyler comes to, seeing a small barrier made of ferns lit by bright sunlight. Tyler shields his face with his hand, looking around trying to figure out where he is. He realizes he's on the shore in relative safety and notices Sophia keeping watch next to him. Sophia sees that Tyler has woken up and approaches him, examining him carefully. She offers him some coconut water, telling him he's severely dehydrated. Tyler drinks the coconut water and asks Sophia how long he was out. Sophia tells him he's been out cold for almost 20 hours. Then he checks his wound and notices it's been bandaged. Sophia turns away from him and quickly tells him that she bandaged him up, and he thanks her. Tyler realizes his wound was cleaned and asks Sophia where they found water, to which she tells him not to ask too many questions. Tyler insists and asks her what they used to clean his wound. Sophia gets embarrassed and asks Tyler not to worry, adding that they cleaned his wound with urine. Tyler regrets not thinking of such an effective method himself, saying they did the right thing. When Sophia asks if he's mad at her, Tyler says she saved his life and that he has no reason to be mad at her. Sophia says she was worried his wound might get infected, so she offered to take care of him. Tyler reflects and admits to himself that he can count on one hand the people who would care for him like Sophia did. Tyler thanks Sophia for her hard work, and she asks him not to be so formal. Sophia reminds him that he saved her life several times, while she just patched him up a bit. Tyler tries to get up on his elbows, but fails and asks Sophia for help. Alex notices Tyler waking up and approaches him, asking how he's feeling. Alex tells Tyler that he can come to him with any problems. Tyler says he understands Alex, thanking him for his help and care. Two girls approach Tyler, one of whom greets him and introduces herself as freshman Elizabeth. The other girl shyly remains silent. So Elizabeth introduces her as Clara, saying she saved her life. She thanks Tyler for the roasted pork, which confuses him. Alex explains to Tyler that last night, they made a campfire which was later spotted by Elizabeth and Clara. He adds that during the shipwreck, Clara got separated from her husband and children and still doesn't know what happened to them. Tyler calms Clara down, saying that if they ended up on this island, they'll definitely run into them sooner or later. Elizabeth says she heard about Tyler's heroic act yesterday, adding that she had no idea he was that cool. Sophia tells Elizabeth that she's just a freshman and doesn't study with them, asking why she talks like she knows Tyler. The girls start arguing, while Tyler thinks there must be way more survivors on the island than he initially thought. Turning his head to the side, he notices Charles lying unconscious, also surrounded by ferns. Alex tells Tyler that what Charles did was unacceptable, and he got what he deserved. But they better leave it as it is so it doesn't hinder their survival. Tyler gets up and agrees, thinking to himself that he doesn't care about Charles as long as he behaves. Sophia gets distracted from her pointless arguments with Elizabeth and notices Tyler standing up. She approaches him and advises him to rest since he's not fully recovered yet. But Tyler replies that his wound has already scarred over. Alex invites Tyler on a tour to show him what they've managed to do while he was unconscious. Alex says that thanks to the stone spear tips made from flint, they were able to start a fire. He also mentions that they dug a special pit and placed the meat inside to keep it from spoiling in the scorching heat. Alex sits by the fire and hands Tyler some meat, saying they hoped the smoke would attract nearby ships or planes, but no luck. Sophia tells Alex that things didn't turn out too bad, as the fire helped them meet Elizabeth and Clara. Realizing they still had an unresolved argument, Sophia and Elizabeth start glaring at each other again. Tyler looks around and notices some strange activity in the bushes that catches his eye. Behind the trees, A man who was watching the group quickly runs off into the bushes after catching Tyler's gaze. Tyler jumps to his feet, swiftly picking up his bone knife from the ground. Sophia approaches Tyler, asking him what got him so worked up. Tyler intently scans the bushes, telling his friends that there's someone there. Tyler points his knife towards the bushes and loudly commands whoever is watching to show themselves. In response to Tyler's commands, no one answers, and the group only hears the usual jungle noises. Sophia asks Tyler if he might be seeing things since he hasn't fully recovered from his injury, to which he insists that there's definitely someone there. Tyler loses his patience, raises the knife above his head, and yells at the potential observer to come out immediately. In response to Tyler's orders, a man slowly emerges from the bushes, stating in English that he is alone and unarmed. Sophia examines the man, suspecting that he might be one of the survivors. Alex raises his hand and greets the man in English in a friendly manner. Tyler senses something off, wondering to himself how this man could have survived alone in the jungle. The stranger quickly looks around and greets the rest of the group. Alex asks the stranger if he is one of the survivors from the cruise ship Pearl. The foreigner replies that he was also on the ship called Pearl, introducing himself as Jack. Alex shakes Jack's hand and introduces himself, while Sophia admits to herself that she understood very little of their conversation. Tyler approaches Jack and asks him in English if he had been alone all this time. Sophia is amazed at how fluent Tyler's American English is. Suddenly, she remembers that he had the lowest English grade back in university. Jack answers that there were two of them, but his girlfriend couldn't make it to the shore. Sophia laments how reality and movies are vastly different. She imagines that in real life, Rose DeWitt would have survived, but would have drowned with the Titanic. Sophia approaches Jack saying not everyone would have survived such a shipwreck, adding that he must be blessed by God himself to be alive. Jack thanks Sophia for her kind words and asks how many people in the group survived. Alex says that all the survivors are right in front of him and there's no one else in their group. He also points out Charles, mentioning that they have one injured guy in their group. Jack asks if the injury is serious, concerned about what happened to Charles. Alex admits that the wound is deep and they're not sure if Charles will make it. Jack decides to help the injured guy and starts digging in his pockets looking for what's needed. He pulls out some anti-inflammatory drugs, saying that maybe they'll help Charles recover. Alex takes the pills from Jack, asking him where he found them. Jack replies that he was just a tourist in China, got caught off guard by the weather and caught a cold, so he popped into a pharmacy and bought those pills. Alex says he'll need just 5 pills, thinking to himself that each pill now costs tens of thousands of yuan. Jack tells Alex to take all the pills, adding that he's healthy now and doesn't need them. Clara thanks Jack, and he just waves it off, saying there's nothing to thank him for. Alex asks Jack if he's hungry and offers him to join them. The whole group, with Jack, gathers around the campfire and starts grilling pork. Jack closely examines the meat skewered on a wooden stick and asks whose it is. Sophia honestly tells Jack it's wild boar meat, and then he asks them where they got it. Sophia says they killed it in the forest, adding that Tyler was the one who handled it. Jack takes a good look at Tyler and decides to hold off on the questions. Alex asks Jack if he wants to join their group. Without much thought, Jack, with a smile, says he'd be happy to join them. Alex welcomes Jack as a new member of the team, and he expresses his gratitude for being accepted. Meanwhile, Elizabeth and Sophia are at it again, hashing things out between themselves. After a while at the meal, Tyler decides to strike up a conversation with Jack, asking him about what he ate after he ended up on the island. Jack tells Tyler that he found lots of mushrooms and berries in the forest, adding that he had been eating them for 2 days. He also mentions that he found a stream with clean, drinkable water in the forest. All the group members listen intently, intrigued by the idea that there is fresh water on the island. Alex asks Jack if he remembers where this stream is located. Jack happily responds to Alex that he remembers exactly where it is. Alex rubs his hands together and asks Jack if he can show them where it is. Jack says he can show them the stream's location, but Tyler mentions that they've already been in the forest and didn't see any stream. Jack explains that the stream isn't easy to find because it's hidden by thickets. Tyler asks Jack how he found the stream if it's hidden by thickets. Jack admits that he stumbled upon the stream while exploring the island. Tyler wants to keep grilling Jack, but Sophia interrupts, gently touching his hand. She quietly tells Tyler that they can check if the stream really exists by scouting the area themselves. Tyler thinks about how it's not easy for an average person to find edible mushrooms and berries to survive on for 2 days eating just that. Tyler is also puzzled by the fact that Jack only ate one portion of meat despite having lived on plants for several days. Alex tells Jack that the whole team is counting on him to find that stream. Tyler stands up and says he'll go scouting with Jack, just the two of them. Sophia tries to dissuade Tyler, reminding him that he hasn't fully recovered from his injury yet. Jack notices Tyler's injury, and he explains that he got a minor wound while killing a wild boar. He asks Jack if it bothers him that he's the one going to check out the creek with him. Jack calmly replies that he doesn't mind at all and beckons him to follow. Then they head off into the bushes. Tyler asks Jack how much longer they have to walk, to which Jack responds that they're almost there. Jack asks Tyler how his wound is and says they could have brought Alex and the others along, assuring that it wouldn't have slowed them down. Tyler says he's fine, noting that the rest of the group would just be in the way, admitting to himself that it would be too dangerous to bring the girls along. After 20 minutes of trekking through the jungle, Tyler asks Jack again how much farther they have to go, and Jack again says they're almost at the spot. Tyler tells Jack that he said the creek was a half-hour walk, but it's been over 40 minutes. Jack admits he got it a bit wrong, but assures they're really close now. Jack steps into a small clearing saying here they are, and Tyler notes that he can't even hear any water trickling. Tyler asks Jack where exactly the creek is, to which Jack replies that it's down in this pit. Jack walks up to the stone-ringed pit and suggests Tyler take a look down himself. Jack says there's a stream right at the bottom of the sinkhole, suggesting it's some kind of groundwater. Tyler peers down carefully, but what he sees definitely doesn't look like any stream. Taking a closer look, Tyler discovers that the bottom is filled with a massive pile of human bones. Suddenly, he hears two people emerging from the bushes, shouting at them in English. One of the newcomers speaking English tells Tyler to go to hell and smirks maliciously. Before Tyler can react, Jack pushes him in the back. Losing his balance, Tyler falls like a rock down into the huge pit full of human bones. Tyler lands with a deafening crunch on a pile of human bones. The main character carefully checks himself for any broken bones and new injuries. While he's busy with that, he hears the newcomers greeting Jack. Jack tells his cronies that there are only 4 women and 3 men in the settlement, one of whom is seriously injured. Jack adds that since they've already dealt with Tyler, they only need to kill 1 more man. The cronies praise Jack for a job well done, saying he really put in the effort. As he leaves, Jack tells his accomplices that the survivors have a stash of wild boar meat, assuring them it should last at least a couple more days. Tyler realizes that Jack has been deceiving them all along and that he wasn't alone on the island. He notes, fortunately, his arms and legs still obey him, which means he might be able to escape. Feeling his back, Jack confirms that his spine isn't broken. Tyler notices a huge pile of bones around him and realizes that Jack and his cronies won't stop with him. They'll definitely go after Sophia and the others. The main character understands that if he can't get out, there's no way the others will be able to handle the bandits without him. But despite all his efforts, Jack crashes down onto a pile of bones again, realizing that he can't even get up. Clenching all his strength into a fist, he struggles to turn over and decides to slowly crawl over the crunching bones. He looks around, trying to figure out what the heck is going on, scanning the entire pit with his eyes. In the corner of the pit, he spots a small pond, and next to it, a log with something unusual growing on it. Taking a closer look, Tyler realizes that a large longevity mushroom has grown on the damp log, which might help him. Tyler tries to crawl, but excruciating pain pierces his entire body, preventing him from moving, and he falls again. After regaining some strength, he decides to keep crawling no matter what and starts moving slowly. Tyler thinks about how much filth could have accumulated on these bones over time, adding that he needs to hurry up or he'll fall ill with a fever again. Tyler tells himself that only this mushroom can help him now since it has anti-inflammatory properties and is great at combating toxins. Tyler continues to crawl towards the mushroom with difficulty, while a dangerous poisonous centipede crawls towards him. But he quickly spots her and uses a nearby skull to crush the dangerous insect with one blow. Finally getting close to the mushroom, he notes that its surface is usually covered with spore powder and has roughness, adding that its color should be darker. Based on Tyler's observations, this mushroom should be smooth and shiny, and it also has a brown color which makes its consumption potentially dangerous. However, Tyler realizes he has no other options and tries to push the worrying thoughts out of his head. Tyler touches the mushroom, noting that although it's not as soft, it doesn't feel like a rock either. Tyler continues to examine the mushroom and notes that it has no smell at all, which is quite unusual for a mushroom. Nevertheless, Tyler decides to prepare thoroughly for any possible consequences and takes some time to gather his strength. Having gathered strength, Tyler quickly bites into the mushroom cap, taking a bite. After eating the mushroom completely, Tyler lies down on the ground, feeling that his body has reached its limit and noting that the mushroom of longevity only seemed bitter at first, hoping that it will help him. However, within a fraction of a second, Tyler's throat is seized by an incredible spasm, making it hard to breathe. Writhing in unbearable burning that's spreading through his body, Tyler starts rolling on the ground back and forth, trying to endure this excruciating agony. Amidst bouts of incredible suffocation and heat, he notices a lake nearby. With tremendous effort, Tyler crawls to the lake, clinging to his life with all his might. Tasting the water, Tyler realizes it's fresh and plunges his face into it. After quenching his thirst, Tyler gets on his knees and screams loudly, overwhelmed by strange sensations. Tyler feels like all his insides are burning up while also being pierced by an incredible cold. During another bout of his body's transformation, Tyler lets out a loud cry, scaring all the birds around the pit. Meanwhile, Jack and his cronies have captured almost the entire group of survivors and are telling Alex to give up, saying he can't take them all on by himself. Jack mockingly doubts that Alex has any combat skills to stop them. One of his cronies tells Jack to stop being nice and just finish him off. Meanwhile, Tyler's attacks are subsiding, and he finally feels some relative peace. He sits down on the ground, admitting that he thought he was about to burn alive right in this pit. Suddenly, Tyler realizes that with the attacks gone, his body is filled with an incredible lightness and strength. He checks his body again and notices that his wounds have started to heal gradually, and the pain has completely subsided. Suddenly, his thoughts are interrupted by a deafening chorus of birdsong, something he's never heard before. Tyler turns to the side and watches the pit's exit, trying to figure out which bird was making such loud singing. Looking at the surface of the pit, to his surprise, he clearly sees a little bug crawling on a blade of grass near the surface. Tyler notes that something has happened to his vision, but now's not the time to think about it, as he needs to get out to the surface quickly. He scans the pit walls for footholds and sees a vine about 4 meters away, realizing reaching it won't be easy. However, Tyler notices that the walls of the pit aren't exactly smooth, suggesting that if they are dry, he might try climbing them. When Tyler touches them, he realizes they're pretty wet and covered with a thick layer of moss. Still, Tyler doesn't give up and starts slowly climbing up, gripping the ledges with his fingers as hard as he can. Tyler tells himself that he absolutely can't afford to slip down now and keeps climbing towards the exit. After a few meters, Tyler's foot slips, but he notices that his hands, unlike his feet, seem to be growing into the rocks. Tyler firmly grabs another ledge with his hand and carefully pulls himself up to it. Tyler feels something has changed inside him, thinking about how, aside from his sight, his other 4 senses have also sharpened significantly, meaning he must have eaten a strange longevity mushroom. Tyler really wishes there had been more than one of those mushrooms, but he snaps out of it when he realizes he's reached a spot where he can grab a vine. Breathing a sigh of relief, he grabs the vine and starts climbing towards the long-awaited exit. Meanwhile, one of Jack's buddies decides to finish off Alex and jumps at him, swinging his club. Alex manages to react in time and blocks the serious attack with his spear, positioning it in front of him. The other members of Jack's squad decide to skip the nightly tournament and join their buddy, attacking Alex from all sides. One of the attackers catches the right moment and lands a heavy blow on Alex's arm, knocking him off balance. Alex falls onto the sand, unable to hold his weapon anymore. Alex glares at his attackers with a murderous look and calls them all bastards. One of Jack's accomplices laughs heartily, amused that Alex is still resisting, then orders his allies to finish him off. As the thugs approach Alex, he notices Sophia and comments on her attractive appearance. He pulls Sophia close, saying that her delicate pale skin suggests her meat will be very tasty. Sophia tries to break free from the thug, telling him he's disgusting and demanding he back off. The bandit just smirks, then forcefully shoves forward, making her fall face first into the sand. The bandit approaches Sophia and starts tearing her clothes off, while she screams loudly for help. The thug tells Sophia that no one's coming to save her, saying her friend's most likely dead and she'll soon join him. But first, he'll make her beg for death. Sophia fires back, saying she doesn't believe Tyler could be dead and demands the goon not to touch her. Suddenly, a stone flies with a piercing whistle right into the thug's head, stunning him and forcing him to release Sophia. Jack scans the area and orders whoever threw the stone to come out for their own good. But all they hear in response is the background noise of the jungle and the quick rustling of leaves. Jack says he doesn't know who threw the stone, but suggests they show themselves the easy way, or things will get really ugly. Suddenly, the bushes stir more violently, and out bursts Tyler, greeting the thugs with a cheeky bonjour. All the survivors cheer for Tyler, hardly believing their eyes. The thug holding Sophia turns towards Tyler, telling him he didn't expect to see him alive after that fall into the pit. After saying that, he snatches a bone knife from Jack's hand and heads towards Tyler. Yelling that Tyler shouldn't have crawled out of that hole, the thug lunges at him with a bone knife. The thug delivers a heavy knife strike, but Tyler easily dodges it by just shifting a few inches off the line of attack. Not giving the thug a chance to recover, Tyler lands a powerful blow to the thug's side, breaking several ribs. Driven mad by the pain, the thug tries to strike Tyler again with a wide swing, but Tyler jumps up and dodges the attack. Tyler delivers a devastating kick to the thug's face, knocking him out and sending him flying. The thug skids across the ground for dozens of meters, then lies there, unable to get up. Not letting his opponent recover, Tyler catches up to him and delivers a powerful finishing elbow strike. Tyler's strike hits the thug's throat precisely, causing severe damage. Tyler steps back from the gasping thug, who has nothing left but to painfully die lying on the sand. Jack asks Tyler in fright what he did to his comrade in arms. Tyler responds that he crushed his throat and now he can't breathe, and his fate is sealed. In his mind, Jack admits he can't believe Tyler is so strong, especially since he was pushed into a pit just minutes ago. Jack tries to distract Tyler by begging for mercy, saying he gives up and won't harm him. Suddenly, he asks his henchmen why they're just standing there doing nothing and orders them to finish Tyler off. The thugs attack Tyler, throwing dozens of punches, but none of them hit their mark. Tyler notices that his opponent's movements look like they're being filmed in slow motion. Tyler feels so fast now that he can predict their every move just by the sound of their footsteps. Tyler decides it's time to end the experiments and leaps back from his opponents with a backflip. He grabs his bone knife, mentally thrilled to have found it again after a brief separation. Focusing all his newfound strength, Tyler throws the bone knife at his opponent. The knife hits a bandit's neck dead on, mercilessly slicing through his skin and flesh. Tyler decides to give his enemies no advantage and quickly runs towards the downed opponent. Catching up to his foe, he coldly pulls his weapon out of the thug's body. Tyler easily dodges all attacks from his enemies, waiting for a chance to take down another thug. One of them makes a mistake, striking at Tyler and exposing himself. Tyler immediately exploits this vulnerability, slamming his bone knife into the back of his opponent's head with force. Another thug watches in horror as his buddy falls lifelessly, spraying blood on the sand around him. Tyler notes that if his knife had been steel, the bandit's head would already be lying separate from his body. The thug decides to capitalize on Tyler's momentary hesitation and charges at him with a scream. However, Tyler effortlessly dodges the attack, smoothly stepping aside by a few inches. Tyler decides the fight's dragged on too long and it's time to end this kiddie game. Taking advantage of the thug's clumsiness, Tyler lands a powerful elbow strike to the body, knocking him off balance. The thug, not even realizing what happened, lets out a loud scream of incredible pain and falls to the ground. Tyler stands over the defeated opponent, watching to see what he'll do next. The thug pushes up on his elbows and looks at Tyler with genuine terror, trying to offer something. But his plea is cut short by a spear thrust piercing his chest completely. Alex loses it and starts pounding the thug, screaming for him to just die already. Even the agonizing death of the thug doesn't stop Alex, as he continues to strike the stiffening corpse. Tyler tries to stop Alex, grabbing him and telling him that's enough. Deaf to reason from his rage, Alex turns on Tyler, not recognizing him, and tries to strike him. Tyler blocks Alex's strike, telling him to calm down, repeating that it's him. Alex collects his thoughts and calms down, trying to figure out what he's done. He turns around and sees the gruesomely mutilated body of the bandit from his spear attacks. Alex falls to his knees and screams loudly, realizing what he has done to a living person. He's shocked that he was capable of committing such a brutal murder, but Tyler soothingly places his hand on his shoulder. Tyler admits to himself that he's not surprised Alex is in such a state, regretting that he's not good at comforting people. Not knowing what else to say, Tyler tells Alex that all these bandits deserve to die. Suddenly, he turns around and notices that Jack, frozen with horror, is still here. Coming to his senses, Jack tries to run away, but Tyler asks him if he's sure he can make it. Tyler walks over to the dead bandit and pulls his bone sword out of his head. Jack is freaking out, trying to explain to Tyler, saying that he was forced to do it against his will. He admits that he didn't want to push Tyler into the pit, but his accomplices made him do it. Jack says that if Tyler lets him go, he'll never tell anyone about what happened today at this beach. Jack falls to his knees and swears to Tyler that he won't tell Davis a single word about today. Alex overhears Jack's conversation and is surprised that Jack might still have accomplices. He walks up to Tyler and whispers that they need to find out who Davis is. Tyler kicks Jack hard in the face, breaking his nose and knocking him to the ground. Jack grabs his nose and screams loudly, trying to hold back the blood gushing out. Tyler tells Jack that he probably knows that sharks are introduced in these waters. The main character grabs Jack by the head and pulls him close, ignoring his tearful pleas and begging. Tyler drags Jack into the water, with Jack begging to be let go and spared. Tyler dunks Jack's head underwater, causing the blood from his nose to flow with the current. After holding Jack under for a bit, Tyler pulls his head back out, still gripping it tightly. Tyler shows Jack that the sharks have smelled the blood and are closing in on him. Jack pleads for mercy, tearfully begging Tyler and saying he doesn't want to die. Tyler ignores Jack's pleas and grabs his t-shirt, pulling him a bit closer. The main character tells Jack he's only giving him one chance, and if he lies even once, he's dead. Jack turns around, sees the approaching shark fins, and quickly agrees to tell Tyler everything he wants to know. Tyler asks Jack how many of his people are on the island. Jack nervously looks away and says there were just 5 of them on the island. Tyler grabs Jack and wades deeper into the water, while Jack insists that he's telling the truth about there being only 5 of them in the team. Tyler asks Jack again how many of his people are here, and Jack honestly admits that there are more than 20. The main character asks Jack where the rest are, and he's told that they are on the east shore. Tyler points out the approaching sharks to Jack and tells him they linger here because they've tasted human flesh before, and again advises him to spill everything about his accomplices. He adds that if Jack lies to him again, he'll personally shove his head into a shark's mouth. The other survivors gradually come to and gather near the shore, not far from Alex. With fury in his eyes, Alex asks Jack how many people he has eaten before. Jack admits to eating about 3 or 4 people, adding that they caught a lot in the last few days. Tyler asks Jack just how many people they've captured during this time. Jack answers that his boss, named Davis, said they could keep some people for themselves to eat later. Alex loses his cool again and tells Jack that he and his buddies are just a bunch of animals. Tyler asks Jack exactly how many people they've captured, and Jack replies that there are about 20 prisoners. Tyler says if his own group is also around 20, they couldn't have survived on just humans, to which Jack responds that humans were a last resort. Alex runs into the water, shouting that Jack and his crew don't have a shred of humanity, to which Jack replies that they would have died if they hadn't resorted to eating people. Suddenly, Tyler sneaks up behind Jack, grabs him, and in a blink, snaps his neck. Before Alex can get close, Tyler throws the lifeless body to the approaching sharks. The sharks start their feast, and Tyler quickly swims away to safety. Once safe, Tyler heads towards the girls who were watching everything from a distance, sitting on the sand. Sophia says she's really glad to see him, as he takes off his t-shirt and hands it to her. He tells her the shirt got a bit torn, but it's still wearable, and she asks him what he will wear now. Tyler turns to the dead bodies of the bandits and decides to look for some clothes among them. After picking out a suitable t-shirt, Tyler approaches the body of a bandit and takes the clothes off him. After thoroughly washing the t-shirt in seawater and getting rid of the bloodstains, Tyler puts it on. He goes over to Sophia and asks her to hurry up and get dressed, to which she quickly agrees and puts on his t-shirt. Tyler and Alex watch as the sharks finish their feast, leaving nothing but bloodstains in the seawater. Alex tells Tyler that he shouldn't have killed Jack since they could have forced him to reveal where his boss and the others were. Tyler turns to Alex and asks what he would have done with that information next. Sally overhears their conversation and asks if they plan to rescue the people kidnapped by the bandits. Alex says it's a good idea, but points out that Boss Davis has more than 20 underlings, making it tough to rescue the hostages. Sally asks him if they are just going to leave things as they are, adding that the criminals could have captured their students. She turns to Tyler, asking why he's so quiet, reminding him that he used to be in the military and that soldiers are supposed to protect the people who pay taxes to feed them. Tyler tells Sally that he served in the military, but not in China. He was part of Squad F in another country. People look at him puzzled, questioning whether he's a citizen of some other country. Tyler responds that he's a Chinese citizen, but served in a special foreign unit, Squad F. Sally mentions that only 1% of all military personnel make it into such an army, emphasizing that the selection criteria are incredibly tough. Sophia asks Tyler what this squad is all about, and he replies that you could think of it as a kind of mercenary squad. Sally says that nonetheless, it's the only foreign squad recognized by the Chinese government. Tyler recalls that he was promoted to sergeant after just 3 months of training as a recruit. A year later, he was promoted to lieutenant, becoming the first soldier in the Foreign Squad F to rise to that rank so quickly. If he had continued serving in that squad, he might have become the first Chinese soldier to achieve such high ranks there. Tyler says he only joined the squad to make some money and was never driven by a sense of patriotism or duty to the Chinese army. He adds that, nevertheless, his mates are right, and you can't just abandon these people, noting that sooner or later Davis's people will come for them. Tyler mentally adds that he ended up on this island only because someone gave him a task that forced him to desert from the Foreign Squad F and pretend to be a third-year med student. He tells his mates not to forget that they recently took out 5 from their squad, so definitely someone will come seeking revenge. The group of survivors carefully examines the items left behind by Jack and the other bandits. Alex approaches Tyler and asks him if he checked them when he initially hinted that he wasn't planning to save the hostages. Tyler tells Alex that it's a very dangerous operation, where they need to work together, and if someone isn't ready for it, everything could fall apart. He turns to Clara and suddenly asks her what her thoughts are about the upcoming operation. Clara looks bewildered into the void and then nervously answers that she totally agrees. Tyler mentally notes that during the discussions about rescuing the hostages, Clara was silent, adding that he thinks she's really scared, but doesn't want to admit it. Alex says Charles is still unconscious and they need someone to look after him, suggesting Clara for the job. Clara agrees, saying she'll definitely take care of Charles. She heads away from the group, saying she'll check on his condition herself. Alex approaches Tyler and says, first off, they need to figure out where exactly Davis's people are holed up. Tyler replies that Jack gave them pretty much the exact location, so finding them won't be hard, mentally adding that the real challenge is how to deal with them. Tyler asks Alex what time it is, and he answers that it's about 1 p.m. Tyler says they need to get moving before it gets too late, preferably right now. He goes over to Clara and hands her a spear, saying she'll need it both for protection and for cracking coconuts. He adds that Clara can pull some meat from the pit and grill it if she wants, to which she just modestly thanks him. Tyler says they can't put this off till tomorrow, as the disappearance of 5 team members will make Davis wary. He adds that if they've decided to free the prisoners, it should be done today because they still have the element of surprise. Alex responds to Tyler, saying that it's sound logic and asks him what exactly they're going to do. A few hours later, Tyler and his squad carefully make their way through the jungle, armed with spears and a club. Suddenly, Tyler is caught off guard by a strange sound and he freezes to listen closely. Alex approaches him with a question, but Tyler puts a finger to his lips and gestures for everyone to keep quiet. The whole group is on edge, listening intently to the jungle sounds, trying to figure out what caught Tyler's attention. Tyler tells the others that someone is ahead, and they grip their spears tightly, looking around. The group looks forward and hears a strange rustling of leaves, watching an unusual movement in the bushes. Tyler commands his squad to hide and make no noise. The entire squad doesn't understand what's happening, but they immediately obey Tyler and hide in the bushes. Amidst the jungle noise, the squad suddenly hears a man's voice pleading for someone to stop running away. Curiosity gets the better of Sophia, and she decides to check out the source of the sound by peeking through the bushes. Sophia spots a woman not far from her, running from a man, playfully flirting with him. The man catches up to the woman and pins her against a tree, telling her that he's caught her. He gently holds her chin and asks when she's going to break up with Jack, and she in turn asks him why he's so eager for her to leave Jack. The man starts caressing the woman, saying that if they break up with Jack, they won't have to hide like this. Sophia realizes they're probably talking about the Jack whom Tyler recently fed to the sharks. Sophia feels sorry for Jack, saddened by the fact that he fought for his life while his girlfriend was having a fling with another man. The man and woman clearly don't notice our heroes watching them and continue their romantic play. The sounds of their laughter and playful banter carry through the forest for dozens of meters. But more importantly, the whole group of survivors can clearly hear what the lovebirds are about to do. Sophia shyly keeps watching them, not understanding why they aren't embarrassed to do this in public. A long session of peeking is interrupted by Tyler, who whispers to Sophia to come over, making her blush. He takes Sophia by the shoulder and shows her where to move to avoid giving away their position. The couple gets more involved and moves on to something more serious, continuing to embarrass the onlookers. Tyler and the others sit silently, trying to figure out if there's anyone else around besides these two. Alex decides to break the silence and asks Tyler what they should do about this couple, guessing they might be from Davis's squad. Tyler suggests to Elizabeth, Sally, Sophia, and Alex to pretend to be passing survivors to distract them, and if things go south, to run as fast as they can. Sophia asks Tyler what he will be doing while they are distracting them. Tyler smirks and says he'll be sitting here waiting for the right moment. He says if these two run after them, he'll take care of them. But if they try to run for help, he'll cut off their escape route.